Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, Ready, Set, Mom. Now, today's video is going to be about what you need to know before having a home birth. Now, like I said in my introduction video, after I shared that I had my son at home, I got a lot of messages on Instagram and Facebook about home birth in general. And then I also saw posts on Facebook groups of moms being concerned about what's going on right now with the coronavirus, asking questions about a home birth or being really curious in general about home birth. Now, as excited and happy as I am that home birth is kind of coming to the forefront of people's minds, I have to say and share that it is not for everyone. The reason it's not for everyone, it's because it's only for those that are of low risk pregnancies, okay? So when you go to a midwife and you start filling out all your paperwork, one of the things that they're going to have you fill out is a risk assessment form. And in that form, it asks about your medical history, your height and weight, and other pregnancy related history as well, to give you a risk number. Now, different risks are rated a 1, some are a 2, and others are a 3. Once you reach 3 total, so a sum of all of them, 3 or more, the midwife has to reach out to an OB to make sure it is okay for the midwife to continue to care for you and for you to have a safe delivery at home. Now, home birth is something you must want to do for yourself, for your family, not something you just want to do out of fear, unfortunately, because of the situation. Do I think that women can birth at home? Yes, I think anybody, any woman can birth at home. Our bodies were made to do this. Our bodies are beautiful and strong. And they've been doing this for thousands of years. I mean, women used to go give birth out in the wild, okay? I mean, look, Mary had Jesus in a manger, right? So this is something that's totally natural. So yes, it's something that we can all do. But if in your mind, all throughout your pregnancy, you've been prepared solely to give birth at a hospital because that's where you feel safe or that's where you feel is best for you and your family, I would suggest you continue on that course, even though it is not ideal right now. But if you've already been preparing for an unmedicated delivery, even if it's in the hospital, but unmedicated, meaning you're not getting an epidural or any kind of other pain medication that they offer you, or you don't even want to be induced, then great. A home birth could work out for you as long as you mentally prepare for it and as long as you find a midwife that you can trust as much as you would trust a medical doctor. Which brings me to my first big point with home birth is that it requires trust. Trust is huge in home birth, okay? You have to trust your midwife or your birthing team because usually it's going to be either 2 midwives or a midwife and a midwife student or a midwife and a birth assistant that are going to be taking care of you at your labor and birth. So I suggest that you interview several midwives. Don't just go with the first midwife that will tell you, okay, I'll take you on. No, I would suggest that you interview several midwives and find the one that you mesh with best, that you trust wholeheartedly. Midwives become part of your family, and midwives should listen to you and respect what you want. They do a lot of individualized care, so they mold their care to you, but they also use evidence-based care, okay? They're not just gonna decide to do something because that's what they like. No, it's because there's evidence backing whatever they're doing, okay? Also, you have to trust your body and your mind. Like I said, a home birth, there's no choice for an epidural, okay? It's natural and unmedicated. So you have to trust that your body knows what it's doing. You have to be patient that baby will come at its own time when it decides it wants to come, okay? Because there's no choice to get induced, no Pitocin here. But you also have to trust your mind. You have to get your mind in the proper place and focus for labor to just go more smoothly and relax and not stall, you know? Also, you have to have trust in your support system and in your spouse. Your spouse has to support you in a home birth, okay? It's not something that's easy and you just like push this baby out like it's nothing. Labor is hard, even at a hospital, okay? Even sometimes with an epidural, it's hard from what I've heard and from what I've seen at times too, okay? But you have a lot more freedom in home birth to walk around, eat, drink, use the bathroom as many times as you want. And you have control of who you want to be there with you as well, okay? But you need support. If your spouse doesn't support you, or your family or whoever you're going to have around you does not support you, it's going to put this weird vibe when you're laboring, and it's not going to really help you. You want as calm and as positive of a vibe around you when you're laboring. So you need that support, even if it's just getting a doula. Doulas are amazing. I've never had one personally, but I know several, and my midwife used to be a doula. And let me just say, doulas are amazing, okay? They will help you, they'll help your partner with different techniques for relaxation and pain relief. But anyways, I digress a little bit there. Home birth is an investment, okay? It is both a financial investment and an investment preparation-wise. Now, financially, home birth can cost you anywhere from $4,000 to $6,000. Now, yes, that might come as a bit of a shock to some people, but it is still cheaper than a hospital birth generally is, even with insurance. A hospital birth with insurance can be anywhere from $3,000 to $30,000 if you end up in a C-section, or if you have any kind of complications that require a longer stay. Now, you might have to reach out to your insurance company to see if they cover home births or maybe a birth center birth, and if they have any kind of restrictions or regulations as to which kind of midwife you have to deliver with. There's different kinds of midwives, and that's something that I can also talk about in a different video. But yeah, that's just something you might want to look at. Now, like I said, home birth or at a birth center, to look with your insurance what they might cover, or if they don't cover and you have to pay out of pocket. But let me tell you, birthing at a birth center versus birthing at home is pretty much the same exact thing. Birthing at a birthing center is doing a home birth in someone else's house, pretty much. And I personally know, since my firstborn was born at a birth center and then my second child was born at home. But now, I know a lot of people's concerns with home birth is, what if something happens? What if there's an emergency? Okay, I have to kind of tackle this in two different ways. So, first, midwives can transfer you to the hospital at any point, okay, whether it be because you choose to or because something is going on. Generally speaking, most midwives are going to transfer you sooner rather than later. But here's the thing, most transfers to the hospital are non-emergent. Okay, the most common reason for a hospital transfer from a home birth is maternal exhaustion. That's something that technically could happen at the hospital as well. But, since at home you don't have pain medication and things like that, it's harder for you to try and get rest if your labor is really long. So when you're physically exhausted, and the midwife can generally make this call if they need to transfer you, then they will, and you can get an epidural, some pain relief, and rest, have your body recover some before continuing on with your labor. Another reason they transfer, kind of piggybacking off of that, is if the mom wants or needs pain relief, like wanting an epidural. There's nothing wrong with wanting an epidural. There are times in labor it gets tough. It is hard. It is not easy. So it's totally okay to want an epidural. And that's exactly why I also say that home birth is not for everyone. If you've mentally prepared to have an epidural and just kind of rest and breathe easy through your labor process, what is the point of trying to have a home birth when at some point you might hit this wall and you really want to go to the hospital and get an epidural? Now, another reason that it's not emergent that you get a transfer is if labor isn't progressing. First-time moms tend to have really long labors, and at times it stalls. So that's another reason that they transfer you. Baby not being head first. In Florida, and I believe in some other states, but don't quote me, but at least I know in Florida, a midwife cannot deliver breech babies. That's something they have to do at the hospital. So if the baby's head is not down, the midwife has to transfer you. And midwives are amazing, guys. Let me tell you, they are amazing at just palpating on your uterus and figuring out which way baby is laying. I get mind blown with it all the time because it is not something you see in the hospital being done anymore. So that's another reason. And the last non-emergent reason that they transfer you is because your blood pressure is high. Now, emergent reasons that are true emergencies as to why they transfer you, is that the baby is showing some signs of distress, usually meaning that baby's heart rate is decreasing with contractions, or while you're pushing, things like that. And the other emergent reason is bleeding and postpartum hemorrhage. So bleeding after you deliver that they can't control, or usually it's just that you've lost a significant amount of blood, that they believe your hemoglobin is low and they're gonna need a blood transfusion. So they rather just get you to the hospital and get you the care you need there. But piggybacking on the postpartum hemorrhage and bleeding, midwives bring with them different supplies for different emergencies or for different things that they run into consistently. So with postpartum hemorrhage, they bring Pitocin with them. And there's a couple other medications, but I know they usually always use Pitocin if you're having some bleeding after labor, just so that they get your uterus to contract and stop some of that bleeding, okay? And like I said, if they're not able to get it under control, or you're not able to stand up and walk without getting dizzy and lightheaded after labor, then they'll transfer you if that is what they would feel is needed. So I know other people worry about like baby not breathing and stuff like that. That is another common, if you want to say common, emergency that midwives deal with, is baby needing help with their first breaths. And let me tell you, it's something that they are trained to do. They're trained in infant resuscitation as well, okay? Midwives also bring with them oxygen in case they need to give you oxygen while you're pushing because your oxygen levels are decreasing, or like I said, baby is showing a little bit of signs of distress. They have IV fluids with them if they need to. Sometimes that helps also with your high blood pressure. And they also have a suture kit and numbing medication, lidocaine, in case you tear during delivery. Now, this video was jam-packed with a lot of information and a little bit longer than I expected it to be, but I think I included a good amount of information that is needed for you to know before you make a choice to have a home birth. Now, in my next videos, I'll probably include some frequently asked questions, some FAQs about home birth, because I didn't want to make this way too long, some FAQs about home birth. Also how to prepare for home birth, like mentally speaking, your birth space, supplies you need, things like that. Okay, it's not just, hey, I want to have a home birth and there's nothing you need. There are things that you need. Okay, so I will be sharing that in future videos, so look forward to those. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you can see when those videos are available. All right, bye bye guys, take care. Leave me any comments if you have any other questions about home birth. All right.